What's good? Woo! Almost couldn't talk. What's good? What's good? What's good? All right. Hope everyone's having a very blessed day, night, whatever time you might be watching this. All right. Patreons, what's up? Now let's get into it. This is Rap Management Guide for Dummies. Now, being a rap manager is different from any other artist you've ever had to manage in your life. You would think rock stars would be the worst thing you ever had to manage, and that's probably second. But rock stars, normally, the most problems you're going to have with them is drugs and girls and getting people out of the room. You're not going to have too many problems with people trying to kill them. So, you're constant in a flux, constantly stuck in this era of trying to do your job in a toxic environment. It's not like it was in the 90s, wasn't like it was in the 80s, definitely not like it was in the 2000s, in the 2010s, and now the 2020s. The rules are different. The rules are a lot different than how they used to be. Because everyone is going by the old philosophy of management, which is express to your client. Express to your client that you are their sole trusting human being. They have to trust you and only you, and that's it. You are their lifeline. Please share every detail with me because I need to know it. Now, whether that's still true to this day is yeah. But now things have changed when it comes to managers. Because, see, the most important tip for all these MCs, wannabes out there, and everybody fiending to be in the big time light is that you're not going to go anywhere without a great manager. You're not. A lot of people say, I can manage myself. You're not going anywhere without a great manager if you want to make it seriously in this business. Let's just get that correct. And we're not talking about one of your homeboys or your baby mama's brother's cousin's sister's best friend. Okay? It's not gonna happen. And be like, oh man, I know this dude, he got a lot of money, man. He a dope dealer. He gonna be my manager. You don't want that kind of help. Okay? If you're a real artist and you're smart, you need to get somebody who's willing to dedicate their life to making your life easier. That's a manager's job. That is the manager's job. It's to make your life easier. And they're dedicating their life for yours, and you pay them. Now, things have changed back in the days because this was a 24-hour commitment job. Now, with a lot of his work being done on social media, you don't have to spend as much time with your artists. Before, social media dictated everything that needed to be done. You were on hand 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. Now, most guys are basically promoting, doing shows, everything from social media. So it lessens the lot of time you have to actually be there physically with your artist. So that changed from the way it used to be. You know, you got a lot of MCs out there that are very like different. You know, you got managers who are heavyweights in the game and they got a lot of control. You got people out there who are very good at crunching the numbers and helping the artist save on taxes and all of these different things. You have managers that are very good at managing multitasking as far as chaotic situations. This is why some artists who are big enough can have more than one manager to do different things because they're very good at different scenarios, you know. So, but for each artist, you know, it's different. You know, when you have artists who the responsibilities are pretty much good, you know, there's not one quality that they have. You know, one thing you have to be connected with, you have to be respected, and you got a lot of you know, like some patience with the artist because you're entering into their life basically. You know, and when you enter into someone's life, they're opening up to you, not you to them, really. So their life is what they're bringing. Their entire life they're bringing to you, and they're trusting to be able, you know, they're hoping to be able to trust you to accept them, you know. So, and accept everything like they family, they kids. You got to know if the wife, you know, where she lives. You got to know where her parents live, you know, where your kids might be going to stay at your best friend's house. You might have to arrange someone to get there. You got to know the cousins. You got to know everybody. When you're that manager, you are their life is in your hands. Today is more chaotic because bullets are flying around like crazy because of the type of artist you might have. Now, if you have an artist that is very dangerous to where his lyrics provoke a lot of violence, normally there's a large entourage. And with that entourage comes a lot of, you know, unnecessary actions where you got to go out and do a show. The guys who are considered his enemies or his opposition, they're out there ready for the show to start as well. They have firearms, they got everything they need, or they snuck in, or they're waiting for the show to end and wait for you to come out. You have to prepare for every situation. You have to know this is what this person's planning. You have to know and anticipate the worst at all times. Not some of the times, not part times, all the time. Because the worst is gonna come and you don't want to be unprepared when that happens. Wherever you're managing or wherever you're doing a show at, you should always know where the trauma unit is. The manager should know how to get to the hospital, the quickest route from where you at to the quickest and best hospital around. You should know that. Not to saying something might happen, but you need to know that and have that ready at speed dial in case something happens. You need to know because you're not probably in that city that you know. You're visiting somewhere. So if you don't know, the manager's job is to have someone around him that knows. And if you don't know, that's a problem. That's a major effing problem. Now, a lot of people say, well, okay, I see your point, Sino. But that doesn't mean everything's gonna go wrong. Not all the managers die. The managers don't die because they're prepared. Nobody's out to get them. You know, and most of the managers have their own security. Managers are, They know when they're traveling with dangerous artists that they got to protect their act, their artists. That's their money, and they have to protect themselves. But when you don't have the resources and your artist is living in a dangerous life and he's not willing to change conditions, he's still in the same areas he live in, and because his family's there and he ain't quite made it yet, even though he's flossing like he did, it's a dangerous scenario. And the time you think it's everything is everything is the time of be your last day. It'll turn around and end up being your last day. So what you got to do is be like a psychologist for your artist. You got to make sure like you're able to reason with them and kind of make it seem as if it's their idea. I'd be like, yeah, it wouldn't be a good idea to do that. I mean, if that's what you want to do, yeah, I can see that. So that what you're saying? You saying that we should go that way, and instead of going that way? Yeah, 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 yeah. That do make sense, don't it? I'm like, yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we should avoid going to the crowd. We don't need to do all that. Let's go the other way, another route. It's quieter. It's better. That way, and we ain't running. We're just looking for an easier way to get out without traffic, with all these fans and everything. We just trying to get away from people. We ain't trying to avoid ops, nothing like that. So yeah, it's just smart. Avoid all this traffic. You want to make it seem as if they're the geniuses, and you're just going along with it. Now, doing business today is harder for a manager because it's hard to get your artist booked. Nobody's doing 100 shows. 100 shows is 2 shows a week. In the 90s, this was possible, was on the table to do, but wasn't really accomplished until like the 2000s. You've seen some artists do 100 shows. 100 shows a year is normally good money, very good money. But nobody do that. That's 2 shows a week for a whole year. Now, some rock and roll shows was doing that. Some people was on tour for like 3 years if you got like rock and roll acts. Now those shows, very easy to manage. You got other people that stage hands that help you out, and you pretty much dictate what you want. There's insurance money, so there's ambulance there if people get hurt, and your artist ain't getting sued. Rappers don't have that luxury. There's no ambulance waiting on them. There's no trauma, nobody there. If somebody fight and get knocked out, that would end up stopping the show. People don't get paid all their money. And it's the manager's job to have to go and get all these things. And then when he gets all of this, the money, and let's say he's doing all these things for the artist, in today's time, those artists, they see the big names and lights and the heavyweight managers or who they've been managing. Forget all the work that's been done to get you to where you are. Now it's like, I need something more. I need to go to this next level. So they end up firing their managers that help build them to the top. And they go to another manager. They'll have a hit song. They're on all the radios across the country. And then a slick talking manager say, hey, you're on your way. But I know you're tired of sitting in these, regular hotels. You put your work in. Now it's time to get paid. It's time to come up to the big leagues. Look, your manager did a great job, but he can't get you into the door as I can. You want to go in RCA Germany? You want to go overseas? I've been there. I got people there. I had to set up. Has your manager been out of the country? Has he even gotten your passport yet? See? That's what I'm saying. Listen, you're ready, kid. I'm ready to get you to the next level. Now, I don't know what kind of deal you got with your manager. So you never you try to make sure that these guys never get to talk to your artists as a manager, because these guys are the big money leeches, and they're gonna try to come and steal you away. And you believe me, if you think these artists are loyal, think again. They're not. Y'all could be best friends, whatever. When money's involved, you're gonna see a whole lot of changes, and they get blinded by lights. It happens, it's gonna keep happening, and it won't change. So people need to understand and prepare for it, because this is today's age. This is the age of the we don't need to prove anything to you. You need to prove it to us, and it's take it now and leave. So when you get the managers that are screwing over the artists, this is why. The manager's like, I'm gonna get mine before I get screwed over. And the managers, yeah, man, managers getting a lot of money. Yeah, they're getting 15, 20 at the top at best. And the reason why is because they got to dedicate their whole lives. Their whole life is put on hold. Their whole life is to follow you to make sure you straight. That's the manager's job. You know how hard that is for them? They probably got a wife and kid that they can't never see. They got to be on call 24/7. Especially if you got a rapper of today's status, you got to be ready with the bail money. You got to know if you can get them out of jail. So let's talk about that. All right? Let's say your artist is calling you, your manager, and he's in jail. How are you going to prepare for that? Do you know? How do you prepare to tell your artist he's going to jail or he's in jail and all this? How are you going to make him at ease on that phone? You got to tell him, don't worry, I got it. Don't worry about it. We're going to get you out of there. We're going to get the bail at the hearing. We'll be ready to get you home. Now that that's done, you might be asking yourself, well, okay, that seems very easy. If you're a good manager, depending on where you are, you already know, or legal systems, you already prepared to know the legal system in that city. And for what crime. You should have basically a former lawyer who was a former DA. I mean PA. Now, you need a former prosecutor and former state's attorney who's now operating as a lawyer. You should have those contacts in your phone for every single state. And you should be able to have them on speed dial. Because you're going to need to know the laws for the crimes that you can call and say, well, I need to know the law, how I'm going to get them out, and this and that. All right? Now, depending on what the crime is. Now, when they get out, and then when they get out of prison or whatever, what have you, once they get out, of course, you got to have the talk with them on how they screwed up. But you never start speaking first. You ask them, are they all right? It's the first thing you ask them. Are you all right? Very thing, right off the top. Are you all right? Okay. Let's get you out of here. Now, you don't say anything. You just wait and listen. If the artist knows that he screwed up, and saying, man, I effed up. I effed up. You don't have to reiterate to the artist that they messed up. Managers make mistakes by doing that. Some manager gets extra excited and they don't handle this situation right here properly. If they come out of jail or a situation where they know they really screwed up and they know it, the manager can recognize if the artist knows he screwed up and he gets that he screwed up. So, once they do acknowledge that, that eliminates you having to give them that talk of how important it is to not screw this up and you can't do this again. That speech. Now, if they get it, like I said, you have to listen in these situations. Once they say that, and they telling you that they screwed up, and they be like, okay, well, all right, well, let's work on not having this happen again, and what we got to do next time around so this don't happen. Calm. It's a calm conversation. That opens up a bigger door of trust between you and the artist. Because now he knows, okay, this guy's grounded. He's really here. He's not there to be all overexcited in a panic mode. That shows the artist, I can't trust this guy. If something else happens, I don't want to tell this guy because this guy might panic and get mad and start yelling like crazy at me like a kid. And they basically, a lot of these artists are like children. If you react in a certain way that's over the top, they're going to try to hide things from you. And a lot of things they want to do is hide things from the person they're supposed to be sharing it with. Just like kids. You're supposed to share these things with your parents and you're hiding it, then it becomes a bigger problem than your parents are having this conversation with you. Same thing with a manager. They're having this conversation with you that they shouldn't even have to have. It's like, why are we having this conversation with him? It's like, we should not have to be sitting here having this conversation. But here we are. When you walk into a room and you demand respect, you get respect. When you don't, whatever happens, happens. Now, there's a lot of people in the world, they make up these claims, they make up all these different rules on what they want to do, how they want to do it. Nobody really cares. At the end of the day, all they care about is, where's my money? Is my bills paid? Is my taxes paid? Now, if you have a crappy manager who don't know anything about taxes, he could have you in jail. And you don't even know why you're there or how you can get out of the situation that you're in. So these are the biggest rules you could ever learn in being a manager. Okay? Now, you might say, how do I know? Because I was into sports and I managed to put together a couple of fights for people. I looked over some contracts for people before, and I know what's supposed to be in them as far as sports. Now, as far as the music industry, some artists wanted me to manage them, to start their careers out. And I don't want to do that. I don't even want to get into boxing management. I don't want to get in any form of these things. People think it's a very lucrative job. It is, and depending on what happens, but you invest a lot of energy and a lot of years into not making any money up front. You make more notoriety than you do money at first. And then if you find that artist or athlete to go to the next level, at that point, what have you done? At that point, where do you go? You see what I'm saying? It's already got to a limit to where it's so far up. At this point, it's like, man, I'm gonna need the money I get now just to pay for all the stuff, pay me back all the money I've spent over the past years where we didn't make a dime. Then once that started happening, and you start make the artist or the athlete start making more money, he's seeing you get larger checks. He's not gonna like that. Now he wants to change a commission. He's want to say, hey, how's my manager getting all that money? He's getting a lot of money. I want to pay him that. Then now you have this discord between you and the actual athlete and artist that you have, who over time you guys become like family because you guys have shared so much. And nothing hurts worse when you're not treated that way. So if you want to get into this business, be prepared. Just be prepared. Thank you guys. My Cash App is Carceno, Karceno. My Patreon is Carceno for life. For everybody here that's on the Patreon, you guys will get this before anybody else in the world. So hopefully this helped anybody who was thinking of going in this area, or if you're an artist that happens to see this. These are things you should know. I'm out.